Hi crafters, thank you for joining us for another tutorial. Today we're going to customize a gel pen using glitter, UV resin to make an ombre design. This pen kit has everything you need to get started. It has 5 full-size fine glitters, 6 stainless steel crafter's gel pens, 100 ml UV resin, 1 toolkit, a 12-pack of shimmer chambers, 2 dowels, 1 clip, 2 gloves, 1 piece of sandpaper, and 1 UV lamp. So let's get started. These are all the tools you'll need for the project today. First, we'll start with our pen. Go ahead and flip it upside down and slide the backing off. You'll notice your pen is wrapped in plastic. Go ahead and remove that plastic. Next, you'll want to go ahead and hold where the stylus end meets the barrel, and then just twist the nose of the pen. Once you have the nose off, slide the barrel right out. We'll be crafting with this later. And then we're going to go ahead and take the nose of the pen and put it right back on. Put all your little pieces to the side for safekeeping, that way you have them for later. Now that we have our barrel off, we'll go ahead and place this on the dowel. You can go ahead and leave it on the dowel, or you can go ahead and just leave it on in your hand, whatever's easier for you. And I'm going to go ahead and sand the barrel. When you're sanding, you don't have to give it a lot of attention. You just want to rough up the barrel a little bit, that way the resin has something to adhere to. So go ahead and give it a consistent sanding as you go all the way around the barrel. Once you've got it all sanded, go ahead and set your sandpaper down, and then we'll use just a little cloth to wipe off all those sandings. Once you have everything cleaned off, it's time to craft. If you use a moist towel, wait till this dries. You want to make sure that it's clear water before you put any UV resin on it. Now I'll go ahead and put on a glove, that way I can start resining. You'll want to put your glove on your dominant hand, that way you can go ahead and spread your resin. So I'm going to hold it with this hand and then use this other hand for my resin. We're going to go ahead and apply just a thin layer of resin. Remember, you can always add more if you need to, but it's harder to take away. So we'll do just a little line along the barrel and then use your gloved finger to rub that resin in. Go all the way around the barrel, making it nice and smooth. You should be able to glide across the barrel once it has good coverage. If you need a little more resin, go ahead and pour that on and keep spreading it out. You want to make sure it's nice and even, that way you have full coverage when you apply your glitter. This is looking pretty good so far. I just want to make sure it's nice and even, so I'm just going to go ahead and spread it out a little bit more, and then we'll start with our glitter. Once you have adequate coverage and you're able to glide your glove right across the barrel, we'll go ahead and sprinkle some glitter on. It's looking pretty good to me, so I'll go ahead and put the cap back on my resin, set that to the side. Next, I'm going to go ahead and pull out a scrap piece of paper. You can use anything for this to be your glitter catch. That way you can save some of your glitter for later. And we'll start with the darker color first. Now I'm going to use the sifting side of the glitter because I don't want a lot to come out at once. And I'm going to start with the base, holding it at an angle. You want to make sure that the whole base is covered with glitter, and then you can move on to get a little bit more of the barrel. We're looking to cover a little over 50%, that way when we apply the next color, it's going to be nice and faded like a good ombre. Now if you hold it at an angle like this when you're towards the middle, it'll help you create that fade, especially when you're starting with the darker color first. So just go ahead and make sure you have good coverage toward the middle and you have a nice little fade going. It's looking pretty good to me so far. Awesome coverage. Just ensure that you have glitter all around the base, and then we'll move on to our next color. Now again, you can use any kind of paper for this, any scrap paper, just to catch the glitter. That way when you're done, you can pour it right back into your glitter bottle. We're going to go ahead and get the other side of the barrel now, and then work our way to the middle. Now remember, if you keep it at an angle, you're going to get a good ombre shape. So we'll go ahead and just keep pouring, making sure that's adequately covered. It's looking pretty good so far. We're just going to keep making sure that the middle is nice and faded as well. Now, you'll also want to tap your dowel at some point, just to make sure that you don't have any bald spots. I like the way this fade is starting to look. It seems like I have good coverage, so I think we're about done. We'll tap it one more time just to make sure. But yeah, it's looking like we have pretty consistent coverage, so now it's time to cure. So we'll go ahead and set the glitter down, move all of our little catches to the side, and at this point we're going to want to angle our pen up just a little bit like this, set it down, grab your lamp, and then you can go ahead and place it right over your dowel. We're going to cure this for 90 seconds. Our 90 seconds is up, so it's time to flip it over. So we'll go ahead and move our little lamp. We're going to go ahead and angle the dowel the other way. We'll set that back down and put our lamp right back over our pen. Go ahead and cure the other side for another 90 seconds. Now the other side is fully cured, so we'll move this out of the way, and then go ahead and pick up your dowel, and it's time to add a little bit more resin. So we'll open up our resin again. I've got the same glove on, so it just depends on how messy you get. If it's not too messy, you can keep using it, otherwise switch out. We'll go ahead and just apply a little bit of resin onto the glitter. This time you're going to use quite a bit more, but start off small again. That way you can make sure you don't over apply. Go ahead and rub that resin into the glitter. Again, because it's fully glittered, it's going to absorb a lot more resin than last time, but you do want full coverage. So just keep applying as you need to and spread it in. Remember, less is more. You can always add more, it's just hard to take away. So go ahead and just apply the resin all over the barrel of the pen and make sure it is smoothly saturated. I find it's easiest to apply in one direction, that way it's nice and smooth, but it's up to you to go ahead and get this as smooth as you can. After we cure it this time, depending on how your coverage is, you may need another layer, but it just depends. The big factors include how much resin you apply and the kind of glitter you're using. For fine glitter, you pretty much need less layers than with chunky glitter, so keep that in mind for those just starting out. I'm going to apply just a little bit more resin, and then it's time to cure. Make sure it's fully coated all the way around. Once you have it nicely saturated and evenly coated, we'll go ahead and give it a good cure. We'll want to cure each side for another 90 seconds just to make sure it is fully cured. So I've got it pointed upwards, and I'm going to go ahead and set that down, grab my lamp, and start to cure. We'll do 90 seconds. The first side is cured, so we'll want to flip it over and cure the other side as well. Now remember, you want to point it upward toward the other side, and then we'll go ahead and cure again. Another 90 seconds. Now the other side is fully cured as well. You'll notice at this point I have taken off my glove just so I can go ahead and check out how this feels. Now it does feel a tiny bit rough. I mean, technically you could call it a day depending on how you like the texture, but I'd like to sand it just a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and do one last coat. So I'm going to go ahead and just use my sandpaper to make sure everything is nice and smooth. Go over any rough edges you see and make sure you get them nice and smooth down. If you had any drips like we did here, just go ahead and use your sandpaper to smooth that out. You don't have to sand it too much, just until you feel that it's nice and smooth. Once you're done, we'll go ahead and set the sandpaper down, and we'll grab one of our little cloths and just wipe off all those sandings. Now remember, if there's any moisture in your cloth, you want to make sure you give your pen plenty of time to dry in between. Alright, that feels pretty good. I'll go ahead and set that down. I'm going to want to put on my other glove and just go ahead and do one last layer of UV resin. Now this last layer is going to go ahead and smooth it all out and restore it to its original shine. So we'll go ahead and hold that with one hand and then use our UV resin to apply over the whole barrel. This round you're going to do a very thin layer of resin. All the glitter should be pretty saturated at this point, so you're just using this to smooth everything out and restore the shine. A little bit of the UV resin will go a long way, so spread out whatever you've poured first and make sure you don't need more before you add any more. This is feeling nice and smooth. I'm going to do just a bit more of the UV resin, and I think that's ready for the cure. Remember, you want your glove to be able to glide across the pen. That's how you know it's nice and evenly saturated. And don't worry if for whatever reason you're still feeling bumps. After the cure, you can sand it and do another layer. Alright, my coverage feels pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and point it upwards, and then I'm going to sit that under my lamp and we'll start to cure it. 90 seconds. The first side is done, so let's go ahead and pick up our lamp and cure the other side. We'll go ahead and lean this upwards and put our lamp right over it, just like before. 90 seconds. Now the other side should be fully cured as well. We'll go ahead and take off our glove at this point, and if you haven't already recapped your resin, make sure you do that as well. I'm going to move my little lamp out of the way and check out my dowel. Awesome, that barrel's looking really good, really smooth, even coverage, and a nice ombre fade in the middle. So now we can add that back to our pen. I'll go ahead and take my pen from earlier. I'm going to do the same thing as before, hold the stylus end in place and twist just the nose. Once you have your nose off, you can slide the barrel back on your pen. Either side that you want to do is fine, and then go ahead and screw the nose right back on. And check it out, you have one fully customized gel ombre pen. And that's it! We just customized a gel pen using glitter and UV resin to make an ombre effect. Thanks so much for joining us, and please like and subscribe for more of these fun tutorials with MakerFlo Crafts.